And welcome back to the project at the end of week 5. I suppose it had to happen at some point, but we've been incredibly lucky with the weather so far. As you can see from these slow pans of beautiful timbers in the sunshine. But the weather has started to really throw itself at us this week with strong winds, driving rain. But I thought in this video I would try and focus on something a bit different, which is the experimentation that we're undertaking with our stone tools. And the aim of this video really is to show you a day in the life of one particular stone axe, in this case S5. Every time one of our stone tools is picked up for use, we're recording many aspects. We're looking at the number of times the axe hits the timber. We're looking at the task it's being used for, whether it's side axing or cutting notches. We're looking at the volunteers themselves, who they are. We're collecting biometrics of those volunteers, their weight, their height, their ages. And really the point of this is to try and get some fine detail of what it meant in the Neolithic to use stone tools, how efficient they might have been, and how quickly people can pick up those skills. The collection of this data will only really start to yield results in many months' time, when we can analyse the figures and see how people are improving in their techniques and how they're becoming more or less efficient as time goes on. But it's interesting already to see how anecdotally people are improving and how their technique has developed in such a short space of time. I heard a volunteer just yesterday talking and explaining to new volunteers about the sounds that these tools make when they're cutting well versus the sounds that they make when they're not cutting. And it's a fascinating thing. The subtleties of tool use in the Stone Age are not just concerned with the swing of your arm and the weight of the tool and the sharpness of its edge, but it's a sort of whole sensory experience. Part of our data collection includes the tool choice by the volunteers. We have 4 stone axes on site at the moment, and each time a volunteer selects a task to be undertaken, they have free choice on the axe that they choose. And it's interesting already to see how debates are being had about the heavier tools, the fact that they cut slightly more easily but require far more stamina and strength to use, versus the lighter tools, which you can use for many, many minutes without rest. And these debates are serious concerns for people that are hewing timbers day in and day out. This video is focusing on S5, one of the smallest stone axes that we have. Its total weight is 989 grams, including the ash haft. And it's light enough to perform a range of tasks and is a reasonably popular tool at the moment, although it'll be interesting to see how that might change as the project develops and volunteer stamina and strength improves. We have a range of timbers on site for this project, including oak, ash and Scots pine. And here S5 is being used on a log of green ash, and the finish is remarkably different to the Scots pine. A much finer cut is achieved by this tool than it is on the more fibrous timber of the Scots pine. You might be wondering what the point of this task is, and if you look on the side of this log, there are some notches, a series of notches, and Emma is hewing the frogs of timber between the notches to form a straight face. On the end of the log, you can just make out a profile of a rectangular timber that we're aiming for from this round log. As I've mentioned before in previous videos, it's sparking debates amongst us about what a Neolithic timber would actually look like. What sort of level of finish would these carpenters from 5,000 years ago be expecting from these tools? So the day in the life of S5, the stone axe in this video, shows that on this day we conducted 11 separate experiments with a total use time of 37 minutes and 28 seconds. In that time, the axe was struck 2,984 times.